Hey, this is Pat, and today we're checking out the all-new Dainese Suburb Shoes. Now, the Suburb Shoes are a new model within Dainese's line that give you a nice casual look with a little bit of moto protection built in. They actually come in two different styles. You do have the Air version, which I have here on my left that I started with the video, and then you have the DWP version, or the waterproof version, on my right. Now, both are going to have a very similar design to them. What I will say is it's a little bit of different materials along the side. Obviously, you're getting mesh and a leather accent, where you get a little bit more leather with suede on the DWP, but I'll get to that in just a minute. First, I want to take a look at the Air version. This is probably my favorite version between the two, just because they do offer a ton of airflow flowing through the entire chassis. So I do really enjoy these. These are 6 inches tall. They come with a Groundtrax sole at the base. Now, if you're not familiar with Groundtrax, this is something that we saw with TCX a few years ago that has really taken over. It's a Z-plate design, so you get a little bit of flex at the toe with overall rigidity when it gets to the main shank of the sole, and a really decent grip pattern all the way throughout that uses about a hexagon style pattern that is going to grip on really any surface, especially for a flat sole. It does grip really well with about a 4 out of 10 on the stiffness scale. But before I get too long-winded, let's talk about the overall fit. Now, the fit of these is a little bit narrow. That's pretty true with most Dainese shoes out there on the market. But the one thing I want to point out is they fit about a half size small. I personally wear all my US shoes in a 10.5, typically between a 43 and a 44 in most Euro sizes. And I had to go with a Euro 44 in these Daineses, which equates on their size chart to a size 11. So again, if you're looking at that size chart, take a look at that, take your measurements, and then go up one full size just to make sure you're getting that proper fitment. But again, it is narrow, so if you run wider feet, these might not be the options for you. I'd take a look at something in TCX line, which is going to have similar fit, similar branding, but it's going to come with a little bit of a wider footbed. These come in at the $190 price point for the Airs and a $200 price point for the DWP version. So $10 difference. Not too upset about that. That's something that, I think that justifies that waterproof coating throughout. Sliding the Airs off to the side a little bit, let's look at the DWP. So you do have the leather accents throughout, as well as a suede front toe box. I really like that suede. Reminds me of old Nikes and some old skate shoes that I've had in the past, but I will say it is very different from the Air version. If you look, you do have a shifter guard, a little bit of a TPR, and then you just have coated mesh all throughout. It is still reinforced at the toe cap, and it's a little bit softer on both of them when it gets to the top of the toes, but just keep that in mind. You are getting suede on the DWPs versus a reinforced toe cap on the Air version. Moving down the side, you do get a textile pattern with the Dainese logo on the side, which is different from the Air versions. Again, the Air versions get a little bit more mesh to help flow that air through the entire shoes. Looking at the back, you do have a reinforced heel counter, so it gives a little bit of reinforcement at the base. Not too crazy, nothing we'd see from like a heavy shank reinforcement at the back, but it is something that's going to hold up and have some rigidity. You do have a pull tab at the back of it, and again, I mentioned these are 6 inches tall. The DWP liner comes up to about the second eyelet, and you do have flat laces with a little bit of reinforcements on there for longevity. I will say I would have loved to seen maybe some metal eyelets all the way down. It's going to help them last even longer, but I do like that they went from an eyelet to a loop system. I think it looks very tasteful. At the tongue, you do have an elastic cord that you can tuck the shoelaces back in, keep them out of the controls. That is key. You want to make sure you're keeping them away from your moving chain, even hooking onto your shifter, your brake lever, anything like that. You want to make sure that you're in control of your laces throughout the entire time you're riding. Otherwise, I think these are going to be a solid option, whether you need a DWP option in the waterproofing or if you need an Air version for those hotter summer ridings. I think the new Dainese Suburb shoes are going to be a solid option within their line. But if you have any other questions, go ahead and click that info button. That's going to take you over to the product page where you can read other rider reviews and see what other riders are saying about the new Suburbs. If you still have questions after that, our customer service team is available. They're all riders, happy to help you get set up for your next ride. I want to thank you for joining me and taking a look at the new Dainese Suburb shoes. I'm Pat, and I'll see you in the next video.